Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
Boy, I tell you what, anyone who says that it's like riding a bike, they're a liar. That's for sure. Because I am rusty AF, but we are back. We are live. Back home for now. Molina Mike here, in case you guys forgot the name and the face. I got my man Collins in the back. We're going to bring him on in here momentarily. Be more traditional style Doggin It show, although we got a lot to catch up on. First of all, hopefully everyone has enjoyed their Sunday night watching basketball. Hopefully, NCAA tournament been going on, and luckily I got the hell out of Vegas before that thing got too thick. But I'm pumped to be home. I got my girls in the other room. I'm taking this Sunday evening, and I got a lot of work to catch up on. But on top of that, we got a lot of shows to do. And tomorrow we're going to be doing more stuff with Uncle Mike. So we're going to bring him on back in tomorrow afternoon. Although I got an appointment tomorrow, and I think about it, so I got to figure out that scheduling. But anyway, yeah, the Miz, we see you in there. Glad to be back, my man. It was a long trip. Out in Vegas, it was a long 6 weeks, man. Probably the longest over the last couple of years, to be honest with you. Even longer than that trip out to Asia. But nevertheless, I'm home for a week, which is great. I'm gonna go back for the Amari King Memorial out there in Sacramento here in a couple of days, and then heading out to Philly for Super Billiards Expo, which I'm pumped about. So anyhow, let me know if you guys can hear me and see me all right. Like I said, big shout out to all of our sponsors. You see them rolling around, although I'm forgetting some. One other thing here. Let me see if I get to here. And no idea where it is. Aha, there we go. Wonderful. Before I bring in Collins, I'm proud dad moment. I'm going to brag for just a little bit. My Madeline, my 5-year-old, the one who was out there in Vegas with me, you guys know her from the show. She tied her shoelace today, and we grinded it out for like about an hour and a half, and she got there. Of course, I paid off like I always do whenever my girls learn how to tie their shoelaces. But big proud dad moment. So anyhow, let me bring in my man here, and I tried to pay her to kick Collins, and when we were out in Vegas, she said no. And then when she saw his face the other day on YouTube, she said, "Dad, that's the guy who you wanted me to kick him in the shin, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And she kind of paused, and I can see her just reflecting, and she's like, "I should have done it." And I was like, "Well, I ain't gonna pay you now." So,
missed opportunities.
Yep. Dogging It runs in the family, buddy. How are you? I know it's been a long time since you've seen me, but
earlier you said what they said about riding a bike, yada yada yada. I'll tell you what it is like riding a bike. Whooping your ass at one pocket all weekend last weekend.
You ended up, I think, like +3 games, if we're being honest.
No, like easily +6. Easily.
No way it was +6. It was
probably like the point where we had to swap cues because you wanted me to play with a house cue, and I still beat you.
He was playing pretty good. I got to be honest with you, but I did offer to play him out in Sacramento, just so that way it's on the record. And so if he's willing to, I'll be in town Wednesday night. So I'll probably do it Thursday, if anything. But if you're down for Thursday,
we'll go live Thursday at 7:00.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be there all day. I got time. And, I take that back. Matter of fact, I'm going to be in town through that Wednesday. So Wednesday to Wednesday. So you just let me know. I'm going to be around and we can play. So, but, and I like how you mentioned all that. And you don't mention the fact that I tore my shoulder here a little bit when I was out in Vegas, and you forget all about that. So I'm like, first it was the wrist last year. Now it's the shoulder this year.
All right, just play the victim. It's fine.
You just want to like be flexing on me.
Well, I hope it heals, and
appreciate
you
that.
Keep thinking you have a chance. That's all I hope.
I had a chance last time whenever we played in Sacramento. We ended up splitting, I think, last time. But anyway, I digress. Okay. Let's talk about Vegas. Besides the fact that you whooped my ass in one pocket, which I'll go on the record and admit, Collins, he was playing pretty good. Let's talk about the U.S. Open Series out there at Griff's, and then we're going to jump on into some stuff involving Zach Goldsmith and Digital Pool, which we got him in the background we're going to bring him on in about the half-hour mark-ish,
Cool.
somewhere around there, give or take a few minutes. So, but let's talk about the U.S. Open series at Griff's, buddy. How do you think we did? I don't, now that all the buzz is already done and over with, and now that you're back at home and not working on the promotional videos that we asked you to do. Come on,
Dude.
I love to tilt you, man. I love to tilt you.
Okay. I had a lot of fun. I think it's my favorite stream I've ever done. And it was a really, really good event, considering like a lot of people were looking at the field and they were looking at, comparing it to last year. Cause last year it was like, especially for the 8-ball and 10-ball events, it was just an outrageous field. So, obviously it's easy to compare the two fields. I had a better time streaming the event this year than I did last year. So I think that the not necessarily the stories through the tournaments, but like the specific matchups and the way that those sets were like played out. So many of them were like really entertaining. So yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And this is probably, man, going back to me and you've been working together now for how many years, Colin?
I've known you for about 3 years now, right?
Yeah. So 3 years, I'd say. And by far, this was my favorite event.
Cheers to that, by the way. Yeah.
Cheers to who? Who are you choosing to? Me? Got my water here. No, it was by far the best event. And look, the pool talking head that I am couldn't shy away from the fact that it was a weaker field, and it was a weaker field by a huge number, not just from like a number of entry standpoint, but from a talent standpoint. And so going into it, I had kind of mixed emotions because number one, I'm coming off the Rio, already a little burnt out from that event, then heading into this one, and it's not the field that we were hoping it to be. And just for like a little like background information for all you guys at home, part of the reason why, number one, the dates were lined up for quite a bit. The reason why we didn't like re-announce it till the beginning of the year was because there was some behind the scenes negotiations going on between Griffs and Matchroom to make it a 9-ball ranking event. Then at the last minute, it was the announcement was made as far as the European Open that was going to be conflicting. And from what we've gathered, that was part of the reason why they were dragging their feet to confirm those dates. They weren't able to make a deal. We said, you know what, let's just go on with the way the show is as it is, as far as having the same 4 events as we did last year. And to be honest, like I'm not used to being behind the mic like a whole lot like that. And because you know me, and you always bitch and moan that, oh, Mike doesn't do shit.
Well, you get bored too easy. That's what it is. You just get bored too easy.
It's not even that. Listen, it's physically taxing being in there.
Like, it is tough.
It is physically and mentally like exhausting being in there. And it's not because of you. It's just like
sure.
I mean, it can be. From sitting your ass down in that chair, it's tough.
Yeah.
Being on a road trip or traveling is tough, let alone doing 8, 10, 12, 14 hours in the booth. Like, it's rough. And I got a lot of respect for you, although I like to bust your balls, but you do a great job at it. And the fans, a lot of them that are in here right now in the chat, and those of you who hang out on Post Up or that went over to Griff's, it was a great event because number one, the match ended up being good, but really it was because of the engagement and hanging out with everybody in the chat.
It's awesome, dude. I mean, it's the best. It's the best pool community on the planet. Like as far as engaging online and having a good time and enjoying the thing that we all love together, it becomes like, it really feels like there's 1,000 people out there, because there really were at certain points there were 1,000 people like engaging in the chat. And I know that the vast majority of people watching kind of like just hang out and watch at home and they
get annoyed by you.
Exactly, sure, yeah. But parts of it where everyone's really engaging and it just adds to the energy and the excitement over what's happening, and it's really cool. Thank you guys at home.
It was a lot of fun, better than any junior nationals, which I got a real soft spot for working junior events. But like any event that we've ever done, it was the most fun that I've had with you in the booth. And like I said, I was nervous because I didn't want to be in there the entire time. But I knew with Brandon outsourcing the tournament directing to Jack and Rebecca, shout out to Mob Productions. I knew I was gonna have to be in there longer than what I was expecting, but it ended up being great, man. I mean, there was some solid moments. There was whether it was the 8-ball, the 10-ball, and the banks kind of grew on me as the tournament went along.
A little bit. Some of the banks was good, but you know me. I mean, and I'll say it on this. What would you call it? This medium.
This trash.
I can't stand watching that game, man. It's so boring.
Banks?
Usually.
Oh man, I got it. I love moving and so being able to identify the strategy behind decisions and when to be aggressive and when not to be, that's the part that I could get into.
But the moving in banks is like, it's not even close to the same as moving in one pocket, because it always turns out to be the same story every time. Okay, the top two corners are out of play. Oh, the side pocket's out of play. We're fighting over 2 balls. You don't want to make the balls that are hanging in the pocket because you want to leave them out of play. But the guy who's behind
stories like Oliver, you had Evan coming with some great shots throughout there. Tony leaving early in the event. Like there was some things to kind of get excited about,
Sure.
And it's like anything else. Look, you got to make the best of no matter whatever situation you're in, even though like banks may not be your forte. It didn't take away from how the last couple of days were, at least for me anyway, because the match ended up being great. I thought Oliver was gonna go and shock the world again, and then Evan said, "Hold on a minute, my ass ain't out of here," and it was, and those are the things that like when you're.
Oliver took third, right?
I think so. Third or fourth, one of the two.
Yeah.
But like you got to really be just enjoying for whatever it is. Take out the fact that there wasn't that same marquee names that we're used to seeing, and who knows, maybe next year things will be different. I know there's a lot of drama in the pool world still, and ton of events going on all over the world. And me and Mike are going to jump into recapping some of the PLP that I think is still going on or may not, end until next month. I'm not sure.
Isn't it over?
I don't know. It went on felt like longer than I was in Vegas. That's how long that event seemed to go on for. Of course, filler win in the European. So all those things we're going to jump into tomorrow with Mike. But hopefully we'll be invited back. I know Brandon kind of made it sound like we were, although last year he kind of made it seem like we were, and then we didn't really know until what was it, like December? Really, we didn't have any kind of confirmation one way or the other. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. But it sounded a little bit more like he was, he's got his mind made up. He's going with the same format, and he's. We already were discussing a few things we want to do better for next year or different or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
someone
hopefully
just made a 9 on the snap there, and who was that? Jonas just made a 9 on the snap over there in Seattle in the finals.
Is the finals already playing?
Finals playing right now. Yep. Jonas up 2-0 versus Sky. You're not even paying attention. Come on,
dude.
You're like, I get some time at home. I'm gonna take it.
People would be shocked to know the little amount of pool that I'll watch during certain events, but of course, it kind of comes with the job description to some extent. But listen, after the Rio for whatever 12 days, 10 days, whatever it is, then Griff's for 10, 12 days, then you get like a day off and traveling to San Diego. San Diego, by the way, was great. The Lucasi West Coast was phenomenal out there. Way better than I felt like the first time around. Not like no knock on what was it, like May of last year, whatever it was, but this time felt very different, Collins, for me.
Yes, it was a much more it's just better stream too. We had way more people watching this time around. I think last year at OnQ, the stream capped out at like 250 concurrent viewers. This year we capped out at like 9. It was just a much better 9
people watched. Is that what you're saying?
9 people, 900.
Wow, 9 people watched. Well, that's good for our sponsors. We're definitely going to get more of those after dropping those analytics.
Actually, interesting little fact here about the Lucasi West Coast Tour. The last 2 stops, we had a 15-year-old in the final, which is the youngest player to ever be in a final for any regional tournament. I think that Oscar and Des have hosted. And then the stop number 5 here at Hard Times, Adrian made it to the finals. He actually beat Oscar on the winner's side and then sent him to the one-loss side and then beat him in the finals too. So Adrian, a couple of youngsters, big shows in the last 2 Lucasi West Coast Tour stops.
making steps, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm not surprised that it's those two. To be honest,
Neither am
not.
I.
I mean, well, they're the only two in those fields, but I'm not surprised to see them do that because we've been watching them over the last 3 years, and it's funny because Larry sent me a photo. Larry Easton, Savannah's dad, sent me a photo like maybe a week or two ago of me and Savannah out at Super Bigs Expo, ironically enough, and it was one of the first times I interviewed her. I don't know when the first time actually was now after so many, but you know, I probably got she's about here to me,
Hmm.
and I'm about like here as far as like the weight that I had on during that time, and so like it's dope to see not just like her grow and kind of be that little sister, but she's doing awesome things, man, and she's just trending in the right way. And we say that about a lot of players, but seeing these juniors kind of evolve into like
Yeah.
monster players, not just monster American junior players, is awesome, you know. And the
Yep.
same for Adrian, of course. Adrian's a fucking animal, man. Like that kid's
Yeah.
break and 10 ball and the way he runs out is unreal to be that good at that age, you know.
Yeah.
So um anyway, we'll hope to be back next year. I'm gonna kind of put on like the windows open scheme a little bit and just kind of talk about the event out at Griff's. But look, I'm not saying it because you know we're involved. I feel like that was the best that was the best free stream to be put on that I can remember in quite some time online. And that's a
You're
credit
not
to
even allowed
you.
to say that though. You just said it. I know you just said it, but you're not even allowed to say that.
No, I mean, look, I hate to like pat. Number one, I hate to pat myself on the back. I especially hate patting you on the back.
Yeah.
But and everyone
Clearly.
knows that. Yeah, but you know, no,
There
look,
aren't
you did.
many free streams left, Mike.
No, everything's behind, and that's going to kind of transition us over to another conversation here in a moment. But and I get everybody wants to get their piece of the pie, and I'm sure there's other
Yeah.
people there that are vying to get that gig as well. There at Griff's for that stretch, but the amount of like positive feedback from it, and I'm sure there's a lot of haters, and God
Sure.
bless you, you can go be salty on your computer all you want,
Yeah.
but
It's not this. It's not the right style for everybody, and I get that.
no, yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
most of the complaints that I saw besides the two asshats who were doing commentary in the booth was like having the chat up and things like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's your flavor, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like I said, it's not the style for everybody, but I can tell you for sure that the style that's been done for decades is not the style for everybody either. And the people that enjoy the way that we do things, I know how thoroughly they enjoy it. So, um, yeah, hopefully there's enough of them that people keep asking us to do gigs. So,
I don't know how we keep on getting asked to do gigs, but somehow no. Hey, look, hopefully we'll be back for junior nationals as well. We're gonna talk to Shane Tyree here after he gets back from his little vacay after following the trade show. But yeah, I'm pretty I'm pretty happy with the way things went, all things considered, and I think it just further gives us momentum for things like the Lucasi West Coast Tour, which is I do more of the pro scene stuff, and you do more amateur stuff, and so like to get the West Coast vibe in there and follow those storylines, whether from the tour or from post up or from whatever. It's just great to be back involved in it. I'm would say I'm surprised at the numbers we got in San Diego, whether from a viewing standpoint or from the amount of players. But really, I'm not just given the momentum. And I told Des this the other day. It was like, man, I was super happy or excited, I should say, and optimistic as far as what the turnout was going to be, whether online or otherwise, just because of everything that happened at Griff's. So,
yeah.
um, anyhow,
It also
all in all,
helped on the viewership front that the 15-year-old little lady was stomping everyone for the last 3 matches going up to the finals. Like,
by the we owe Savannah dinner for that, by the way, because we were
yeah,
dreading the way that the tournament was looking, and we were
it
kind of
was looking like
scrambling a
we were
little bit.
potentially going to be there till like 6 a.m.
Yeah, Collins comes to the tournament desk, guys, guys,
I just did
guys.
the math.
Yeah, we're gonna be here till, and I got to work in the morning, and I got a flight to catch, and then Savannah comes in and puts on her cape and just saves the day,
Yeah, it
and
was
and
wild.
it was wild the way she played. She played
Yeah,
amazing, and that was the highest gear that I've ever seen that young lady play,
yeah,
ever, and that's with
She's
Junior,
breaking the matchroom break format. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like almost perfect. Like almost getting the cue ball to the middle of the table a lot too. It was unreal.
She was playing on a Brunswick, which is her home away from home. But to beat like Adam Keeler. Hang on one second. What? Okay, y'all just stop fighting. I'm about to be referee over here for these little girls here at the house. But anyway, yeah, Savannah was great, man. The way that she was just chomping her way through match after match, rack after rack, player after player, in those big spots of that tournament, with Oscar kind of just waiting there on the horizon, was awesome to see. Like we always say, oh, she's a great player, and oh, she's gonna do this, she's gonna do that, and I'm a believer in everything I say. But like you saw it then, which was awesome, and
Right.
you can't help but just be in awe and be more excited to see every event she's going to continue to play in.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we also have the shot of the tournament that we decided to throw in there for Griff's. Can you give us any update on that,
Yes.
my man?
Yes. So the last video is taking a significant amount more time than the other two videos to put together, partially due to note taking, and then also partially due to.
Are you trying to throw some shade on me? Is that what that?
No.
Was?
I said partially.
Who
And
was
then
in charge of note taking? Just so that way everyone's aware.
Us.
Me.
Okay.
So when he says
I have a
note
few
taking,
notes on my desk right here, but anyway, it's also sifting through the amount of footage to find those shots, even with the notes, is taking a lot longer. So, I got probably another couple of hours of work to do on that video, and I'm also getting ready for the Amar Kang, and I literally just got back to where one moment.
Un momento.
Where I have the room put back together with the mics up. I mean, you can see I'm still unpacking the bags over here.
Yeah.
So it's like
Oscar and Des want me to tell you to clean your shit up over there, by the way. So
did they really?
They're too nice to touch. Yeah, always. Yeah, get your shit picked up. Fuck, man, don't just leave it out there like that. What's the matter with you?
It's almost done. So I finally got the camera centered on the table and everything. We're good to go. So yeah. But,
well,
anyway.
When can the fans and all of us expect to have that video put out? What's a reasonable time frame?
Realistically, probably Tuesday, possibly tomorrow.
Okay. Well, you're gonna want to make sure and stay tuned for that. There was a lot of solid options, and for the players, there's like $5,000 up for grabs there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Evan's gonna take home some of that cash because he was just a machine.
Not to mention that runout's going to take a minute to edit to make sure it looks nice and then it goes with the music and everything. But
it's the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life, man. And I've seen Dennis come back. I've seen a lot of like monster comebacks and great things happen in sport. But that was one of my favorite by far. But we'll make sure and get that out for you guys here pretty soon. And I don't envy.
I do need to come clean on something though.
Okay.
Corey called me out in the chat. I have played a fair amount of pool since I've been back because
shocking.
Because I've been practicing with a laser level on the Mighty X drill. And it's awesome. So I'm a little addicted to pool right now. So I've been having to pull myself away from the table to work on all the stuff that I need to be working on too. But anyway, so I will take my responsibility in the procrastination portion of it as well. But it will be done. It will be done. We'll get it out.
So funny story. I reached out to Kamui, right? My connection with Kamui, because we, as you know, we were doing those giveaways on the U.S. Open Series or whatever. And so I'm emailing him like, hey man, everything went well. We got the Amar Kang coming up. Just seeing if you want to do a little something for that. That we can give out more free shit to people, which is people always enjoy that.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, can you send me the link of the videos? And so I sent him one of the Griff streams. And I said, just click on the Griff's TV thing and you can find all the videos, whatever. And he was like, do you know where I can find the specific spot where you mentioned the Kamui and the serial number and all that? And I said, John, there's no chance in hell I'm going to go through all that footage and try to find, because there was no rhyme or reason to it. We just did it whenever. And I'm not, and you literally would have to go back and watch like every
But we
every
did it like
hour
20 or
footage.
30 times.
Yeah,
So
but still, I didn't want to do all that. It's a lot to go through, and that's my point. Is like all that editing you got to do for those videos.
yeah,
Like besides the janky note taking, it's a lot of stuff to kind of sit there and work through. So,
yeah,
but you got to get it done.
I'll get it done.
So you got to get it done. I'm going to be out in Sacramento for the Amara King starting on Wednesday, and the tournament starts, I think, on Thursday. 15,000 added. Am I right? 10,000
Yeah,
in
5,000 for the 10 ball, and then 10,000 for the 1 pocket. And it's Thursday. We start at 7 p.m. for the 10 ball, and I believe it's all day on Friday as well. And then Saturday things kick off for the 1 pocket.
What's the vibe like in the room and the locals? What's your feeling on the pulse there for the event?
The locals are looking forward to it. A lot of people asking like, "Oh, who's coming out?" And it's kind of tough to say honestly at this point. But I'm pretty sure that Tony said publicly online that he's planning on coming. And then obviously there's a bunch of players that are playing in Seattle now, so we'll see if any of them swing on down through. I haven't talked to Oscar yet to see who's kind of said that they're planning on coming by. But it's a lot of added money, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's no other conflicting stuff on this side of the country. It's going to be tough for some of them to fly all the way over to the other side for what's going on over there. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know they got an event on the East Coast as well, which is always going to make things challenging. I guess it just depends on where you're at. If you're looking to stay in the green or if you're chasing points, whatever. And I can respect and understand either side of it. Given the bubble that we've been in, I haven't been watching a whole lot of one thing or the other. I know they got European championships going on. You got the event in Seattle, which I've been kind of like scoreboard watching here or there, but that's been about it. I've been like so pool overload that I'm just like, yo, I'm good with just taking some time off. Took the girl swimming, doing some dad stuff, and yeah, I got no complaints. But I'm also, and I put this in our group chat the other day. I'm really looking forward for the Amar. It's a special event out there, especially in Sacramento, and you really got to see a lot of tough guys shed some tears because they got a lot of love for Amar out there in that room, and
it's still a fresh wound,
Yeah, very much so. I mean,
2 years.
And it's just the community kind of really comes together for that, and hopefully we get a good turnout. Whether there's pros there or not, really don't matter to me. I'm just excited to celebrate Amar and see Tony. Hopefully he snaps it off, although I'm sure Oscar will have something to say about that. But either way, it's going to be a solid event, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's transition a little bit. The other day I was on social media, I see a reply from you on a post.
Let me tell the story.
Okay,
Hold on.
by all means, good. That's good. I don't want to.
I was not planning on even telling anyone about the discussion.
But it was on Facebook. Is that fair?
Right. Yeah. So the only thing is, and I I try to be cordial and I try to be like respectful. All I saw was I was tagged in a post,
right,
and I went to go see what I was tagged on, and I'm reading through it, and it basically said something to the effect of like, these streamers have made thousands of dollars streaming these events, and you can take part in the opportunity. All you have to do is pay $400 up front. And so I went.
What was the event for? What was the event for?
Oh, this upcoming event on the East Coast, the McDermott. Is that what it is?
McDermott Open.
Yeah. So, I see the post and I'm reading through it and I'm like, yeah, I remember streaming the Derby City and the ones in the past, and back then it was $50 a day for access, which is a good deal, like a really good deal. And I remember like looking through there, like my analytics and noticing like, okay, well, on the ad revenue, I basically broke even on YouTube ad revenue. And I said, well, that's a pretty good deal for me because I know if I'm live for a certain amount of time, people will, chip in and send some love or whatever. But I was just offering feedback based on the fact that I don't think I can agree that most streamers would be able to break even on $400 as an investment for a 4-day event.
So 4 days, four-day event, a WNT 9-ball event. So you're paying $100 a day versus a Derby City where you would be paying roughly $50 a day over 10 days ish, something like
Sure.
that. But you got
And there's a
your
bigger draw.
pick between a bunch of different matches and a much deeper field. I'm guessing.
There's a bigger draw for the Derby City too, so it's like you're going to end up having more people watching as it is too. And like I'm obviously in a fairly fortunate position to where when I go live on an event like that, I know a specific amount of people are going to be watching, and so like I can kind of figure if an event's going to be.
You can
like
ballpark it pretty well because you've been doing it long enough.
I've been doing it a while, yeah. And so I just wanted to share the feedback that I don't think I can agree that most streamers, if you've only got like 500 subscribers or like 2,000 subscribers, and say for instance if Frank is live and I'm live at the same time and a few of these other guys, Shark Stream is live with their following, it's going to be tough.
They're probably going to be like picking through the same matches, you would imagine.
Yeah, everyone's going to be watching the same matches on different channels, which is my ultimate vision for Pool, is that eventually there will be enough people interested in the game, hopefully, that all those different personalities will be like what people want. Okay, I get to pick my stream. Like, this is my vibe that I like to watch. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think that's great that a bunch of different people will be streaming the same matches. But I'm just trying to say, for now, it's kind of tough for someone to. Anyway, in my opinion, I don't know that I can say, yes, if you pay this $400, that you're going to break even on it, or it's a great opportunity. It is a good opportunity maybe to get like test your chops or whatever. And that's really cool too.
Of course.
But like, I was just saying that my name is tagged on this, and they're saying that this is like a good example of someone else who's like made a bunch of money off of doing this. And I personally don't think that every stream can do the same. And so it's like, I just looked at my numbers.
But they're not all created equally. They're not all created equal. Just be honest about it.
Well, it's anyway, I just posted my numbers and said, like, this is why I don't think I can agree with that. Please don't tag my name on this, because then people might reach out to me if, oh, well, you did this good. How can I do this good, or whatever it is, and then I was called slanderous and jealous.
Yeah, we all know your level of jealousy.
And so I was like,
but look, I want to just pause for a minute. Number one, we're going to bring Zach in here in just a minute. And that's where, and he's waiting in the green room. He has been this whole time, which is great. Okay. We'll bring him on in to join the conversation, but just a couple of things that I just want to start with when it comes to that. Number one, that event on the East Coast is not created as equal as Derby City. So like putting a higher value on the streamer to pay up front is a little ridiculous. Either that or you have to raise the price of Derby, which then, to make it like fall in line when it comes to that totem pole of events. Now, like you, we did that event 2 years ago. And me and Zach have had our issues in the past before. We've gotten into it online. He's like Chris Renfro, where I've gotten into it Chris plenty of times. Now we've kind of squashed it, but like there's a couple of guys who just can get on my fucking nerves sometimes. And he's fallen in that category before. But I like what he's doing. Yeah. And so when in terms of giving people more options, especially in an event like Derby, because there's just number one, that TV table setup is antiquated. It's old. It's dusty. It is. If you go and put in your VHS from,
it looks like you're in a time machine
from '98, you're gonna have that same everything pretty much, And so, being able to come into 2025 and have it be on that digital pool platform and have your options as far as tables, and then streamers can then go and rebroadcast that on their channels. We did that, and here was the deal: you pay $50 a day as the streamer, and you got to put up this logo, that logo, Diamond, and
that's the other
Caesar,
thing is all the hoops you got to jump through to follow the rules. Yeah,
Diamond and Caesars. Okay, I get that. You got to you got to do that.
Yep.
But the deal was, and this is because you mentioned in that post, an unnamed platform that didn't get paid. I was that guy who didn't get paid, and I sold that year at Derby. I don't even remember what the number was, but it was a lot. And over 10 days, my bill was whatever. It was like $500 or whatever, right? and you knew who it was, but you didn't want to throw me on. I'll say it was me. We owed $500. I think that year, and I could be wrong, we sold way more than anyone else, and
Close
way
to 200.
out. Yeah, well,
Yep.
okay, I don't remember the exact number.
It was close to 200, but
But
anyway.
I knew that I was owed some money thereafter. Okay. Now, the reason why I didn't throw up a big old stink about it was because I sold sponsorship for that event. Meaning, I went and solicited companies and I said, "Hey, listen, we're going to be doing this." Joey was in charge of that back then, and I said, "We're going to have commentators. We're going to be streaming X, number of hours a day. Plus, I was going to be doing my thing on Windows Open." So, like, I didn't really stress about it a whole lot because you know what? We made our money. We got the content out there. It was good. I wasn't gonna bitch and moan about it, but I never got paid. I never got paid and it wasn't that I was asking for something that we didn't agree to because that's that was the deal. If you sell over the $500 that you owe us for paying $50 a day, then you're gonna get some money on the back end. That shit never came through, and that was the reason why for me. Plus, I didn't have anybody back at home to do it, which is why I didn't follow through with it the following year. And so then I see your post on there, and Zach's had his run-ins, and let me just go ahead and bring him on in now that we've kind of like laid the groundwork here a little bit. But we'll bring in Zach Goldsmith. Don't cringe too much, my man.
Sorry.
Hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can.
I know we didn't get a chance to test out the audio beforehand, but everything's coming through just fine. You've been listening to this in the background, Zach, and I just want to give you
hold on, Mike. Are you holding a razor blade in your hand?
Me?
Oh, no.
Mike is.
I am. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
I got one of those.
I meant to say Mike. Sorry.
I'm getting ready. No. I had to cut off my daughter's tag on her shoe, so I had it here on my desk.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'm not in it for that kind of fight. Not today, anyway. Especially not online. Anyhow, Zach, I want to give you your chance to respond. We offered on there for you to join the show, and then you said you were going to go live, so I didn't expect to have you on. And then you hit me up today and said that you're willing to, which we appreciate. And so we'll kind of give you.
I want to say also, like, it's one of my number one rules in my chat that, like, if there's someone in the chat that's blowing up a player and they can't, the player's not on the mic to defend themselves, it's not okay to do that. So I think it's really great that you were willing to come on and have a conversation. So
Sure. Well, I like to start it out with apologizing for my behavior. I kind of probably went off the deep end in some respects and didn't, read it thoroughly and then bring it in and reflect before I replied. So it was kind of a knee-jerk situation. I am under a lot of stress. I mean, we're pretty busy with what we're trying to accomplish on our end. But ultimately, so I apologize to you, Colin,
I appreciate that, man,
for calling you out the way I did. But I was just kind of defeated a little bit because, we're trying to accomplish some unprecedented and remarkable things in the pool world and trying to bring the community together. And that's essentially what the platform, Digital Pool, has kind of evolved to be with Isaac and myself, at the helm. But I don't want to go down too many. There's a lot of rabbit holes I can go down. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts to what we're trying to accomplish. But as far as Molina and the 24 Derby and him coming in, and I think you too, Collins, you came in and took some side table streams. That was our first attempt to put cameras at the Derby on the 16 floor tables, and it wasn't the greatest. And we didn't have a lot of metadata to follow up the video content because we weren't in control of the tournament direction. So a lot of our turnkey opportunity with Digital Pool is through the coalesce of tournament direction. We can use that input and metadata to effectively, cut and splice the tape and individualize matches to the best, way possible in pre-production. So we don't have a lot of post-production work, but and there is the deal that Molina Mike got into with being able to pay the $50 a day access fee and work it off because we want to incentivize.
Which is a solid deal. It's a really good deal. It's
yes.
a really good deal. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. And I apologize. I, I know that there was probably money owed. Um, and I don't, I know that a lot of time has passed. And I'm sure we could make good on that. It's just, from my standpoint, I'm kind of overwhelmed in some respects on my end.
I can get that.
And it probably wasn't a forgetful thing. It was probably just, oh, I'll get to it.
Listen, if anyone
And
knows how that shit goes, Zach, it's a guy like
right,
you who, and you travel a lot, and
right,
on the note of what you were trying to accomplish at Derby this year, especially compared to the year whenever we were doing it, it was night and day different. I mean, it was
Way better this year.
so
Yeah.
good. I
yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
the value that you got from, because I was at home this year, so and I
right,
didn't go and hit anybody up asking for a discount. I went and I paid my $80 or whatever it was, and I sat my ass down at home and I was sweating it from the house, and it was solid throughout. I mean, I didn't have not
right.
one glitch, not one nothing, man. I mean, it was an outstanding delivered product to everybody
Well,
at the house.
I got to give a shout out to my team. Over the since 24 Derby to 25 Derby, I've tried to delegate responsibilities to people that I've you know trying to mentor as far as our system installations at the room. I got Travis and Jen Phillips have done a remarkable job, and it's been tough out here. Isaac, obviously the founder of the business, and we brought in a partner, Tim Traver, which basically took the Derby software and crumpled it up and said, "Oh no, okay, we'll do it like this." And so he built something pretty remarkable for Diamond, and they were really, really super happy with what we could do. And then that bled over into the live streaming component. So we were able to effectively put the metadata and the player names and the scores, and we had a tablet at every table, and I came with it. I told Chad and Jason over at Diamond, I said, if we're going to do this, it's all or nothing. We got to get all 48 tables in the thing, and we made it a success. We went out there and busted our butt, and we got a great group of guys. We got Brandon Schuff's in there as an operator in Maryland or in Virginia, and he's doing an awesome job. So I apologize to both of you. I mean, it's just I've been pretty overwhelmed with tasks and stuff, but I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I hope. Um,
Yeah, I think listen, from my standpoint, like you don't owe me nothing because, like I mentioned before we brought you in,
right.
we made money, and I'm not, and without getting into specifics, like besides from the content standpoint, selling advertisement is everything, and so to have
Yeah.
having logos out there and more pull content for people to stream is great,
Right.
and companies appreciate it. And I remember I got asked a lot before Derby this year, "Hey, are you going to be doing this again?" And my response was no, because at the time I was planning on attending Derby and had heard from Joey and whatever.
Right.
But like for me, it's water under the bridge from that standpoint. But like from you getting into it with Collins, that was a little different because this dude is like one of the nicer guys that I've ever met, and he's kind of like my little brother that I never wanted, and so but I want to just follow up a little bit, Collins. Like, what was your main issue, with everything that went down the other day on his post?
So the main thing is, I think that I just have a bit of an issue with having my name associated with the way that it's framed as like this big opportunity where people can make a bunch of money off of it. And there's just like right now, pool doesn't have a big enough of an audience in general to make that happen for many, many streamers. And like I said, I'm in a good position where I've garnered enough people that like the way that I do things where if I streamed it, I could make money off of it. And I know that. That's okay. But the money's not an issue for me. Like, it's not the thing that I'm necessarily concerned about. I want to provide a specific experience for the people at home so that they have like I don't know, they can just tell when they're tuning into Post Up. try to make it feel different. And a big part of that has to do with, the fact that Griffs, I have like sponsor logos and stuff on screen. I get that that's like part of the, that's on their channel and everything. But for me, it's all about the pool and it's all about community, and like nothing else matters. Right. And so I try to do it with as little emphasis on money as possible. And so that's why I've chosen not to continue to do stuff with the syndicate, because for me, it feels a little bit like money's like so important, and I would rather just focus on the content and the community. And so when I made that original post, I also wanted to point out to maybe smaller or newer streamers.
But you did Derby this year, right? You did Derby this year, right? Did you?
I did a couple days. I did a couple days, and then I worked with Feder too, because I was busy with work, like super busy with work. And so Feder asked Frank to do the majority of his streams. But then when I finished up with my work stuff for the weekend, I did the weekend streams with Feder. And then I did a couple of streams on my channel as well. But that was mainly just for fun and to have some type of content, like something to cover. But like I was saying, though, for like smaller streamers, I think it's super important that they see it as an opportunity to grow their channels, and the money that they put in is an investment. I don't think they're going to break even or make much money unless they have connections in the business where they feel like they can get like some sponsorships on the side, or they have a particularly generous community that they already have garnered, you know what I mean? Where they're going to be like sending donations and stuff like that. But I can't, how would you say this? The original ask was just not to have my name on the post because I can't agree with the way that it's framed.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
You want to respond, Zach?
Yeah, well, not to be disingenuous to the community, and not disingenuous to not worrying about the money and taking more of a hobbyist approach to the situation, because maybe you're better off, in other aspects of life and financially. But and I agree to that sentiment and to how you express, community and in that for the most part. And I did that for many years in the beginning, and I put myself out there as somebody that wanted to invest my time and effort to build something and bring the community together, or the pool community together. And that's what I've been doing for many years, is trying to pull our community together through technology. And it really hasn't been able to be or happen per se, because until digital pool got in the picture. But as far as the investment for others, yeah, there is an investment, but I think more tactfully what the syndicate offers is the fact that they, like how we used to do back in the day, where we had to pack up everything and travel the country and have all that expense and set up all the gear, and it's hard to do, and to turn money. So my thought was, if we could, well, basically you guys are experiencing the product that Isaac and I have built with Tim and others as well. And we want to give that back to the community so we can effectively allow other amateur-ish, or, streamers that would never have the opportunity to afford to go to a Super Beards Expo or Seattle 9-Ball Open or whatever, whatever big event, major event, plus to be invited to go to one of those events, so there's a lot of traversing the industry and a lot of relationships that you have to build to get, into the right niche of people. So we want to provide that. And there's a lot more moving pieces and parts to our system other than what this little part that Collins and I are in dispute over, or in an argument over, really, but ultimately, the end goal in all of this is to provide a substrate that we can publish our advertisers and sponsors more exclusively. So we have the virtual product and we have all of the social media components to publish what we need to publish, but we want to publish. We want to publish in more physical ways, and we're doing that. We're doing that effectively with physical product in the room and at the events, and we're adding visual aids, to events like the bracket wall and spectator monitors above every table, and so we're really thinking outside the box and
which are value adds. I mean, they are, because
right.
I saw it last year at the expo with the tournament bracket. There on the television, and of course,
right.
Derby kind of getting into this millennium finally,
right.
everything that you were able to follow, incorporate in digital pool, not just from the streaming standpoint, but from like the tournament side of it. I mean, I could see how many buybacks. There was just so many things that were great this year compared to last year. And I'll play the other side here for a minute, but it's what I can appreciate about, even though I still think that event in particular is not worth the ask, I'll say that for a guy who's wanting to stream, it's you are paying money to get your wheels greased in a professional event to help build your platform, whereas before, because before it was like you know how it is, Colin. You get the fucking worst of it for forever. It's impossible, especially when someone's already grandfathered in an event in this industry. It's hard to break those relationships. Not that anyone's intending to, but as far as just getting opportunity. And so to help build, whether it's PA Pro-Am or this page or Post Up or Windows Open or whatever, and at the beginning of starting anything, you're always going to take the worst of it before you can ever turn anything green. And I mean, you got to take the worst of it for a long time.
A long time.
Right. A long time.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, I think it is a good opportunity for you to get a chance to film like a decent, B, A- type player and have them match up at this event. And I don't know what that feels like, but I'm just kind of talking here. But it's a way to kind of find your little niche and groove and see if people are going to vibe enough off it to, I want to come back when you're doing an even better event, and come back whenever you're doing an even better event.
Right. And go ahead, Collins. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and that's kind of like a good way of like segueing into what it is that I try to do. Also, it's like, ultimately it would be awesome if I could just have content every day, whether it's pro content or amateur content, like, 400 Fargo up to 850 Fargo, as long as the people that like to hang out on Post Up aren't necessarily concerned with the quality of play. They want to know that it's going to feel a certain way to tune in. And if I'm not allowed to stream the way that I like to stream, then I'm not interested in streaming. Right. So it's like, that's another side to where I'm not particularly interested in, like for instance, when I stream here at the Amarkang that we're going to do this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. I've got 7 cameras in the room, and as we have our feature table matchup, right? And that's like I don't know if you've ever watched my stream, but we have the feature table matchup, and regardless of what's happening on the feature table, if we hear that like Adrian and Jeremy are on the table next door and they're 2 games from Hill, we're going to go watch that match.
Heck yeah.
And so like, I want people to know that when they tune into my stream, they're going to see all the cool action. That's the cool place to go hang out. And I feel like after practicing it for so long, I can execute that in the way that other people can't. And so, or maybe they're not as good at or whatever. And so I like to try to offer that as a distinct separation from other streams, right? Where other streams will certainly do better than me at the play-by-play. Like, because the play-by-play for me is the most boring thing. I mean, it's so boring, and I would rather just wait until the exciting moments and then talk about the game, and then we can all just kind of hang out together. And I know that's not for everyone, but if I'm forced to just stay on one table the whole time, I'm not interested in doing it, right?
Yeah, no,
so it's like...
it bores you. It's right.
And if I'm not entertained, I can't entertain the people that are at home, right? And so for me, it's like, I like to watch great pool, but there's a guy named the Sniper, or that we call the Sniper, and when he plays at hard times, he's like a 450 Fargo. When he plays, we get like 400 people watching. You know, if he's
Awesome.
playing for $100, it's like
Right.
they just want to hang out and have fun, right? And so it's like if I can try to do that with pro play too, you know, people will watch it when they will, and people won't when they won't. And it's like, you know, I'm not necessarily interested in creating the videos on demand. I want to create an atmosphere that when you want to watch something live, this is the fun place to do it, you know? So,
Right. Well, hopefully we can, with Digital Pool, we can, we're not in our business, you know, we're not into directing or you know, anything like that. We're just trying.
I could show you some of the terms of use that you sent for these events. You know, it's like some of them feel, I'm cool with logos and graphics and all that stuff, but like there were times there is an event in the, like, I think at this derby, the terms of use said you can only be on one table. And then as I'm watching other streams later, they're all swapping through tables like I like to. And it's like, you know, I'm going to follow the rules. Like if I agree to do something, I'm going to follow the rules. And if I can't follow the rules, I'm just not going to agree to it.
Well, it's those rules are really set forth by just my brainstorm on what the customer or the organizer or producer or the main producer of the or organizer of the event
the event and the sponsors, I'm assuming, right?
Right.
Not the viewer at home.
Right. We're trying to maintain the professionalism, and we wanted to, you know, because if you want highly monetizable content, in my honest opinion, is you have to focus on one match, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a different situation that can be more of the instant gratifying, you know, in the now type of situation. But as far as the longevity of content and where, in my opinion, where most of the money is made is from how that video, you know, the retention of it going forward. So, and also repackaging. So if you're in pre-production and
from a repackaging standpoint,
right, and if you focus on one situation and you can figure out how to break away from play and then add all of your features and options, then I'm just trying to think outside the box a little bit. I mean, I found that I wasn't, Collins, like you. I found that I was not going to be the best streamer, and I kind of hung that up back in 2018, and I went after more of an approach towards you know, providing more of a technological opportunity, and I tried to do both really at one time, but I found that my strengths were in other parts, and I couldn't concentrate on doing the production value. And obviously we have come way beyond as far technology and software, and it is night and day different even since 2018, 19, pre-COVID. I mean, what we have today is pretty remarkable on what we can do remotely or on location, or so just trying to provide, you know, a different approach, you know, logistically and technically, to the live streaming aspect of our game.
What do you got to say, Newey?
Well, I just, yeah, that's all great.
Yeah.
I come from the time that I've spent on the internet as a consumer, and the live streamers that I've engaged with and found that I like to come back to regularly. And I'm talking like as a consumer before I started streaming, oh my gosh, just the countless hours of watching somebody sit in front of a computer and play games and the way they interact or whatever it is that they're doing. It's like that's the environment that I'm trying to create. And I'm not concerned with re-uploading a video. I'd rather just find the next thing that I can go live with. Right. And so,
right. So that brings you back to my point. So, or not my point, but back to the situation where we want to capture the historical record of the event. And even if you were, let's say that you were hired in or contracted in to do the main production, and then you got the digital pool that surrounds you to where it's an all table component. And then there's a pivot, you know, between all the side tables versus main production. And that's kind of what we created somewhat.
That's what people want at home. It's just about creating the story like
Right.
in real time and deciding the moment to show something else. That's the difficult part. But
Right.
yeah,
Well, it's impossible. You're never going to be able to please everyone, and there's always going to be this section of the community that is going to appreciate the traditional way of doing things, and this new wave of consumer that's going to be welcoming,
dude,
digesting pool in a different way than the way it's always
that's
been.
the other thing. That's the other thing, Zach, that I'm going to just come out point blank and say, like this, highly monetizable longevity thing that you've been talking about and the way of producing those videos. It's highly monetizable with people that are over the age of 45.
Yes.
They're not going to be around in 20 years as a consumer the same way that they are right now. And if you look at my analytics and look at the age range of people that are interested in pool, we are not going to have a pool community unless we do something that those younger people can enjoy.
Yes, exactly.
Dude,
exactly.
I don't care how good Jeremy Jones is for a pool player or for someone in college, shoot my brains out. You know what I mean? Like we need to make it fun, and that's what I'm focusing on. So it's like, if I'm not allowed to stream the way that I want to stream, I'm not going to do it.
Well, hey, we may be wrong as far as or it's not really being wrong. It's just maybe
just be about being open to it. Everyone one part that I really love about everything you got going on is that everyone's able to kind of be who they are, deliver it to the people that they know, the people who are tuned into their brand, who have subscribed or whatever. But don't in a lot of aspects, just like whatever you do, Zach, you're an artist in your own right. Collins is an artist in his own right. Whoever is going to put on any kind of stream is their own, and they got their own brush, their own vision, how they want to deliver it. And if you're gonna allow them the opportunity, I would say just kind of let them put their flavor on it, and then the people are going to go wherever they're going to go. Because if you have four different pages streaming the same match, then I'm going to go with whoever I know, whoever I enjoy the best. Easy.
Because where does sponsorship money come from? It comes from eyes. It doesn't. I mean, I get that it comes from the deal, right? And it comes from making the deal, but the deal's not going to take place if there are no eyes.
Right.
Oh, well, it won't sustain either.
Yeah.
Yep. It won't scale.
Yeah. And this is where I think like this hybrid of what you're trying to do, and look, that event in particular, like we mentioned before, where you got to take the worst of it sometimes. I get from Colin's standpoint of not wanting to have your name on it because of that in particular deal. But fundamentally, I would say, at least from my standpoint, I like the direction it's going in. Coming on over here wasn't easy, and I'm a little disappointed because I thought it'd be a lot more shit talking, Zach. So I'm a little underwhelmed here. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm a good keyboard warrior, so I can hide behind the keyboard. And
but I'll tell you, look, coming on here knowing it was going to be me and Collins wasn't the easiest of things, I should say, or at least agreeing to it. But I appreciate you coming on and being willing to talk about it. And
I'm cordial and diplomatic. I mean, I'm I know what's going on for the most part, and I want to. We got to mend and be flexible, and that's really what we want Digital Pool to be is to be flexible, because we want to innovate, and I think, or we want to continue to innovate, and I think what we've put forth is we're able to innovate, because I think we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket over the tech giants. Really, in all honesty, I think we have an opportunity to build something for ourselves, and we can all be a part of it, and we can all benefit from it, a big shared resource. And I think that gets the most eyeballs ever, in all honesty. And it's kind of really what Facebook and YouTube and the others do. I mean, obviously they cover the whole, surrounding, all markets, and we're only a little niche market, but I think, Twitch, I think Twitch would be a great example of how they, engage the video gaming community, and they built something for themselves as an industry. And I think pool has the similar opportunity. And I'm not saying that we still have to use Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, I actually wholeheartly disagree. Like at this moment in time, like if you just look at the objective numbers, nobody watches pool. Like nobody watches pool.
You're talking about on Twitch, or you're talking about in general?
Even if we have 17,000 people watching during the finals of the U.S. Open 10 ball, right?
Right.
I know a guy that goes live every day and has 50,000 people watching. It's like Madison Square Garden, right?
Wow.
It's like every day he goes live. He doesn't even have to he doesn't even have to change his shirt. He could go on live without a shirt. It doesn't matter. Like that's what people are watching because,
Right.
pardon me, it's fucking fun to watch.
Entertaining.
And
yes.
so it's like, I just can't.
I get it.
Like, yes, maybe someday if we can get enough eyes on pool in the first place, but if we don't package it in a way that the common consumer these days is consuming content,
right?
Look at Mr. Beast. He uploads a video and he gets 60 million views in the first 3 hours because of the way that it's packaged. And if we just put a static camera up, and sorry, I'm not trying to like say anything specific about digital pool, but like just in general, if we just put a static camera up and we say, oh man, he's going to have to, maybe make sure you put bottom right on this ball. And he got out of line there, but he's okay. You know what I mean? It's like, it's bad. It's just bad.
It is.
So we need to do it in a way where it's more entertaining for the average consumer that doesn't necessarily play pool, so that they can go like, wait, what the hell's going on over there in the pool world?
It's hard to convey the message. Hard to convey the message of the game, and it's sad that we have to bring in, all of those extracurricular items of the day and the status quo.
And that's why I want to do everything that I do for free, because if I can't just stream it on YouTube for free, I'm not doing something that I can do that will help the game grow. If I put it behind any type of paywall, I am essentially saying, okay, I want to provide a service to existing pool players, right?
Right.
I'm not interested in that. Collins is not interested. I mean, yes, I am. Like, I do it, right? But I'm trying to become a salesperson for the game and sell the game of pool to other people that don't know that this game exists in the way that it does, because nobody knows that pool exists the way that it does. Like the actual game itself that's played, nobody knows what game we're playing.
I think everyone's got to be more open and be willing to be uncomfortable with whatever they're trying to do, whether it's players coming with more personality or these unconventional streams and this hybrid of like traditional versus new age or whatever. But like you and where you come in, Zach, is being that plug to at least be able to allow Collins to put his flavor on it and somebody else to put their flavor on it, but not. And
I don't think I have the perfect answer by any stretch of the imagination. No, I'm just trying something different, and hopefully 10 years from now, there's 50 different streamers.
That's the great thing, though, is like you're willing to try things different, just like Zach's willing to try things different. And from that standpoint,
it's really just a recommendation. I mean, anything is changeable. It's just we want to, that terms of use that I created was just something that kind of just boiled over from years of doing it in the old school way. And I've seen the numbers on the other side from, the big YouTube channels, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, what are these guys doing to garner all this money? And I'm and I really don't want to be in that position. I really just want to create a really cool system and we have, I think, not try to create it. We have created it, and we're, going through the country and trying to put it in the pool room and showcase it at events. And we want you guys to be a part of it. And you guys are really a part of it. And I think Collins, I think you can come back and try it again. And I want to emphasize a little bit about the camera quality, because right now in our phase of startup, in our phase of building our infrastructure, not only virtually but physically, is we can't scale up with those. Of course, I want to put a $10,000 camera on every table and have 10 megabits a second per table with super high def 4K 60 frame quality, but we can't store the because you got to understand, we're building a grassroots system. We don't necessarily want to leverage the third party cloud companies. We want to connect pool rooms together, and we want to do it all. We want to build the whole infrastructure. We want to deliver the video. We want to store the video, because if we took our system to the cloud right now, with what we do with video with all the pool rooms, we'd be paying $50,000 a month. There would be no way, and we don't have enough advertising dollars to cover it, like you said. So we're forced to use, YouTube and Facebook to try to, we're selling out 100% of the value that we're creating to these other companies, and we got to wait for the return. Well, okay, what is it going to return? What is it going to return? Oh, geez, it only returned that. So there's a lot of moving pieces and parts to what we're doing. It would take probably 10 Windows Open sessions to go over it all, and maybe we could do that someday, but
no chance.
No chance.
Okay.
Okay, but I mean, all begrudging aside, all of that, it's I'm glad that I came on here. I didn't want to come on here, but it's all good. I'm learning and growing every day, and you gotta.
You got more of my respect, that's for sure. We're coming on.
Right. Okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, I mean, much appreciation there. Collins, you got anything else before we get out of here? Because I got to take these girls to the park before the sun goes down.
No, I think we're good for now.
Well, listen, I appreciate both of you guys for coming on. It's been a eye-opening show, and we'll be doing more pool stuff coming up. Zach, keep on plugging away, keep on trying.
Yeah, no, you guys, we're going to be doing the Super Billiards Expo, so we kind of sort of bought the media rights to it. The Pro Championship, so we're going to be. You guys have access to those tables as well. So just let me know. Hit, whatever we got to do, and we can try new things. We got other people involved. We got Bobby Hilton at Yale and Alan Hopkins. So we just got to be sure that they want that type of those streams going out, and the way that Collins does it. So we just.
That's the other thing that's awesome
right.
about it too is if somebody does get out of line and like pop off like streamers have in the past, it's see you later. That's easy enough to do,
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it's completely fair, by the way, too.
Yeah. Digital Pool really doesn't want to be that system. We just want to be like an open source platform. We just want everybody to be on one substrate, and I think if we can accomplish that in some capacity, I think we're in for a great future, because we'll be able to publish advertisers like no one else.
Well, on that note, I'm going to let you boys go. Appreciate you guys for coming on. We will see you at the Super Billiards Expo, Zach and Colin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will see you in a couple of days, my man. So anyhow, thanks everybody for hanging out. I'll be live with Mike